Hi class, in this video we're going to create a project that uses the Microsoft Forms dialogues so that you can see how to use those, the standard file open, file save as dialog boxes that we're all used to and love so much. It's a wonderful thing about making Windows consistent. So let's create a new project in this solution. I am modeling this off exercise 13-10, file access app dialogs from our textbook. Okay, so for this application here, I guess I'll set up our form first. Let's go ahead and name this file access apps. And I'm going to set a back color and all that stuff just because it's a good habit. And I want my font to be a little more readable. Make it 12-point Arial. Now for this application, I'm going to use a menu bar. So here's my menu strip control. I want it at the top of my form. The first item on my menu is going to be the file menu. I want the F key to be the access key, so I'll put the ampersand in front of that. Now under file, I would like open and save as. Now for my open, I'm going to rename this control menu open, and I'm going to double click it to add some code. Now when somebody clicks file open in my application, they're actually going to want to see the open file dialog box display. Before we get to that though, let's do some setup on our class. We are going to have some class fields. Oops, I got to back up even further. I want to make sure I'm using system.io, and then I should be able to set up my stream reader named in file and my stream writer named out file. Now when I go to show the file dialog control, that's something that actually has to be added to my form. So I'm going to go back to my form design and find the file open dialog box. There it is, open file dialog, and I said file open. It's one or the other, right? Now this is a control that is just like the font and color control and the menu strip. When I drop it on my form, it's going to drop down to this component tray, and it's not going to actually be visible on my form. Now that we have that open dialog control sitting here, let's click on it and look at its properties. Notice, like a lot of the other properties, all of them we can name it. We also have a default file name that it's going to be sitting at ready to open, filtering information, and some other properties that are meaningful to us system-wide. Let's change the title here and make it be our file open. All right, so to get back to my code to actually use that, I'm going to go to my menu open click event, and I'm going to embed this within a try. But the first thing I want to do is with my open file dialog, I want to show it. So let's run this and see what that looks like. Nope, it's mad at me, right? Let me fix some things here. First of all, I want to make this project, our new one, my startup project. I always do that, don't I? And I need a catch clause here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a catch-all catch so that my program will compile. And I'll run it again. Now I should see the file open. And if I click open, sure enough, I see our file open, the file open dialog box. Now, in order to give ourselves some feedback on our form, I'm going to add a label, of course, down at the bottom, and we'll make this be LBL message. And in our code, then we'll be able to refer to that message. So we're going to show our dialog box, and then we're going to assume that they picked a file, and we're going to try to set up a stream reader that uses that file name of the file they selected. We'll set up our label to display that information. And then we'll close our file. Let's try running this. Do I have anything on my desktop? Sure, I have a .cs file. Let's try it. Doesn't matter, right? And it just tells me the file name. Looks great. So it didn't cancel or anything. We didn't do anything with it. That's all right. Now, along the same lines as using the file open dialog, I can use the file save dialog box. So I want to find it. It will be under save file dialog in my toolbox. I'm going to add it to my form, which drops it in my component tray. I can look at the properties for the save file dialog. Again, I'm going to have properties like the file name to save and the title that I want on that window, those kinds of things. Now, I'm going to display that dialog when somebody clicks Save As. So I will double click my Save As menu. And for my Save As, in the same way, I can put a try and take my Save File dialog. Oops, that's not what I wanted, huh? I can't type right now. So I want my save file dialog one instance, and I want to show it. I'll put a generic catch down here, and we should be able to run this. File, save as, we see our save as dialog box. Super nice, super handy. Okay, let's do something with that file that they choose. We'll go ahead and write a little bit of information out to the file. Let's create a string variable. And we'll set that equal to some sort of string. Now, since we have already allocated our out file variable, we can instantiate it as a new StreamWriter instance. And we'll say that we want to use that file name that they chose in the Save File dialog. We'll write the line, our test value, out to that file, and then we'll close it. In our catch, we'll update it to say that we want to catch any exception as exe, and if we catch an exception, we want to add that to our message. That should be our save as. Let's try it. There's our save as dialog. I'll say that I want to name this test.txt and save. Now let's look at my desktop. If I can find it. There it is. And there's our output. So we were able to save to the location chosen by our user using the dialog box. Now that's a really quick overview of how to use those common dialogs, and they're really important, of course, because they're what allow us to have that common Windows look and feel. So please experiment with those, try some different things. They're great fun. Thanks.